The Vietnam War was a conflict that took place between 1955 and 1975. It was fought between Communist North Vietnam, supported by its allies, and anti-Communist South Vietnam, backed by the United States and other nations. The war was characterized by guerrilla warfare, extensive use of tactics such as booby traps and underground tunnels, and heavy US involvement. The war resulted in significant loss of life, widespread destruction, and left a lasting impact on the countries involved and global perceptions of war. Within this deadly battlefield, there were many roles. However, with so much going on during the conflict, some jobs were less than ideal. Today, we will be looking into the worst jobs during the Vietnam War. Tunnel rats. Tunnel rats were specially trained soldiers during the Vietnam War, who were tasked with the dangerous job of navigating and clearing the intricate tunnel systems used by the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese Army. These tunnels were often booby-trapped and served as hiding places, supply routes, and command centers for the enemy. The jobs of tunnel rats were considered particularly challenging and hazardous for several reasons. Tunnels were dark, cramped, and often filled with water, mud, or hazardous gases. Booby traps filled these elaborate mazes, including tripwires, punji sticks, and explosive devices. The intense psychological stress of navigating the unknown, facing the constant threat of ambushes or close quarters combat, and being in confined space underground took a toll on the mental well-being of tunnel rats. It required a high level of mental fortitude and resilience. Once inside the tunnel rats were often on their own, without immediate access to support or reinforcements. This added to the sense of isolation and heightened the risks involved. Despite these daunting challenges, tunnel rats played a crucial role in the Vietnam War. Their bravery and skills were essential in disrupting enemy operations, gathering intelligence, and neutralizing hidden threats within the complex tunnel systems. Their dangerous and vital work was a testament to their dedication and the sacrifices made by those serving in this role. Burn pits. Burn pits were large, open-air pits used during the Vietnam War to dispose of various types of waste generated by military operations. These pits were typically located near military bases and were used to burn a wide range of materials, including trash, human waste, chemicals, and other debris. The jobs associated with burn pits were considered challenging and unpleasant for several reasons. Burning a wide variety of waste materials released toxic fumes, including harmful chemicals, particulate matter, and potentially hazardous substances. Burn pits emitted thick black smoke and noxious odors, which not only affected the immediate vicinity, but also had broader environmental consequences. Working in and around burn pits required strenuous physical labor. Burn pits were often located in hot and humid environments, exacerbating the discomfort and physical strain experienced by those working in close proximity to the pits. During the Vietnam War, there were often limited safety protocols and protective measures in place for those working in and around burn pits. The prolonged exposure to toxic fumes and pollutants from burn pits has been associated with various long-term health issues, including respiratory problems, skin conditions, cancers, and other illnesses. The health and environmental risks associated with burn pits have since been recognized, prompting efforts to mitigate their use and provide support to veterans who may have been affected by their exposure to burn pit emissions. Medics. Combat medics during the Vietnam War were specially trained soldiers responsible for providing medical aid and emergency treatment to wounded soldiers on the front line of combat. They played a critical role in saving lives and providing immediate medical care under extremely challenging and dangerous conditions. Combat medics operated in the midst of active combat zones, where they were exposed to enemy fire and faced the same risks and dangers as other frontline soldiers. Medics often had to work with limited medical supplies, equipment, and personnel. They had to make quick decisions and prioritize treatments based on the severity of injuries or while dealing with the constraints of the battlefield environment. The Vietnam War witnessed a high number of casualties, with soldiers sustaining severe injuries from gunfire, explosions, and booby traps. Combat medics had to confront the physical and emotional toll of dealing with wounded and dying comrades on a regular basis. Witnessing and suffering the death of fellow soldiers, as well as dealing with the emotional impact of war, took a significant toll on combat medics. They were frequently exposed to traumatic experiences and had to cope with the psychological stress and emotional burden of their work. Despite the challenges they faced, combat medics played a vital role in providing critical care and saving lives during the Vietnam War. Their bravery, resilience, and dedication to their fellow soldiers made a significant impact on the outcome of the conflict and the well-being of those injured in combat. LRRP. LRRP stands for Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol, a specialized unit in the Vietnam War that conducted covert reconnaissance missions deep behind enemy lines. LRRPs were small teams of highly trained soldiers who gathered intelligence, conducted surveillance, and reported on enemy movements and activities. Their missions were dangerous and challenging, making their jobs particularly difficult. LRRPs had to navigate through hostile territory, often crossing dense jungles, rivers, and dangerous landscapes to reach their target areas. Patrols operated in small teams, sometimes with just 3 to 6 members for extended periods. They were often isolated for days or weeks, relying on limited supplies and carrying everything they needed on their backs. Soldiers were often in areas with high enemy presence, risking engagement with hostile forces at any moment. Their missions involved gathering intelligence through observation, which required them to remain hidden and avoid direct confrontations. The isolation, constant risk, and need for constant vigilance placed significant psychological strain on LRRPs. They had to deal with the stress of potential enemy encounters, the fear of capture or injury, and the mental challenges of extended periods in hostile environments. Due to the nature of their covert missions, LRRPs often faced challenges when it came to extraction and being rescued if they encountered difficulties or were compromised. Despite the demanding nature of their roles, LRRPs played a crucial role in gathering intelligence, providing valuable information to military commanders, and disrupting enemy operations. Their bravery, specialized training, and ability to operate in highly challenging circumstances contributed significantly to the overall war effort in Vietnam. Door Gunner. Door gunners during the Vietnam War were the crew members responsible for operating machine guns mounted on the side of helicopters. They provided aerial firepower and served as defensive gunners, protecting the aircraft and the troops inside during combat operations. Door gunners were exposed to intense enemy fire while flying low and slow in helicopters. They were often targeted by small arms fire, anti-aircraft weapons, and ground-based threats. The nature of their position made door gunners vulnerable to enemy attacks, resulting in a high casualty rate. The open and exposed nature of the door gunner's position made them easy targets for enemy fire. With little protection available, door gunners had to maintain constant alertness and vigilance during flights. They scanned the surrounding environment, looking for potential threats, while simultaneously operating the machine gun and communicating with the crew and pilots. The combination of combat exposure, the responsibility of providing cover fire, and witnessing the devastation of war took a significant toll on door gunners. Door gunners endured harsh environmental conditions while flying in helicopters. They faced extreme temperatures, strong winds, and the constant exposure to elements such as rain, dust, and smoke. Despite the dangers and challenges they faced, door gunners played a crucial role in providing suppressive fire, protecting helicopters and troops during insertions and extractions, and providing vital aerial support during combat operations. Their bravery, skill, and dedication in the face of extreme adversity were vital to the success and safety of missions during the Vietnam War.